Hey guys, welcome to Aaron's Automotive, and today's video I'm going to show you how to set the carburetor choke on a Rochester QuadraJet. So first off, I want to apologize for the poor lighting. It's only about 7 a.m. right now, 7:30 or so. Doing this early because it's cold enough morning that I can set the choke. When it warms up today, I won't be able to get a complete proper set on the choke. It's about 4 degrees Celsius right now. So the tools you're going to need for this job are very simple. Screwdriver or a nut driver with, in my case, flashes on so it's hard to see, but that is a 5/16 nut driver bit. And and maybe a hot beverage of your choice. It's a little chilly out. But a quick run through of how these chokes work on the Rochesters. They are the same on the 2-barrel carburetors as they are on the 4-barrel carburetors. So as you can see, this one is a mechanical choke. There's no electric wires or cables or anything coming off of this choke. This runs off of pure just temperature. So inside here there's a wound spring, and it's thermally activated. So as the weather gets colder, the spring tensions up and puts pressure on this intake, on the air flap there for the primaries. As the engine heats up, heat from the exhaust gases come in through here into the carburetor, or into the side of here, and heat up the spring, taking the tension off of this to allow the choke to open up. The way the high idle gets activated is through linkages. So right back there is the high idle lever, and it's attached to the throttle linkage. And if I pump the throttle, you'll see that close up, and you'll also see this close. So to set the choke on these things, in cold mornings, you would pump your throttle a few times, and that would, prime the carburetor, getting it ready for starting. And then you would hold the throttle halfway, and as you can see, that just closed up, and that kicked up into high idle. So she's locked in high idle right now, and I just pushed it out of high idle. So I'll hit the throttle again, and you'll see that all close up and high idle. So right now it's 4 degrees, and the choke doesn't need to be set this much. This was a junkyard carburetor, and I never got the time to actually set the choke on it when I installed it, because it was, the middle of summertime I did that. But as the weather starts getting a little bit chillier, I've been noticing the choke is staying activated until the engine has actually hit 210 degrees Fahrenheit, which honestly it's no need in this weather to have the choke set for that high. So the way you set these chokes, you loosen these the 3 screws here, and this whole plate can turn clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on if you want to set the choke stronger or weaker. To set it stronger, you turn it clockwise. To set the choke a little weaker, you turn it counterclockwise. So I'm going to set you guys down, find a place for you to watch as I do that. Alright, hope you guys can see there. So I'm going to loosen these screws here. So, 1, 2, and the third one is just the bottom right down here. I can get to it easily. Oh yeah, wiring harness here is kind of in my way. There. So those are loose. Should be able to twist this. I'm actually going to have to go get a flat blade screwdriver, so we'll be right back again. Alright, so I got a flathead screwdriver. The reason I needed that is because right here there's a slot for a flathead to actually slip into so that I can turn this thing on the choke, and careful not to break it completely. I think I gotta loosen those screws a little more. I just cracked it kind of badly. That's loosened. That's this one down here. Still needs to be loosened a little more. I hope my arm's not in the way or anything. And how do you know when you set a choke properly? Well, I'll show you that in a minute. Right now I'm just going to go ahead and actually set it, hopefully. Oh, sorry, it's clockwise that loosens the choke. Yeah. Clockwise loosens it, counter tightens it. And I just broke that plastic slot for my screwdriver to slip into, so this will just make it even more fun. Yeah, that's set way too high. Let's try that. Still cranking right into high idle, too much. See, this has two levels of high idle. One that idles it at 1300 RPM, and one that idles it at 1800 RPM. Drop that down just a hair more. That wasn't enough, or that was too much. These are very sensitive. Alright. A little bit of spring tension. Let's do a touch more. There. All right. So, right now, like I said, I don't need the choke completely activating. So, you can see there's still a little bit of spring tension on there. But when I flip the throttle, this didn't close all the way. And the high idle didn't really move much. Like, just a hair. So when I start it up, it'll idle at a slightly higher RPM, but not full choke. This is what happened before. Zoom out. See, I'm going to put some pressure on here. This is going to act as if it was really cold out, because it basically, this just puts more pressure onto this depending on the temperature. And that's what was happening before, was this was pretty much closing all the way and kicking into crazy high idle, which is not needed in this weather right now. So, but to tell if you've had enough tension on there, well, you know, like I said, it's about 4 degrees Celsius right now. So there's a little bit of spring pressure when I pull this backwards. You can see it goes forward a little bit afterwards. So that tells me that there's just enough spring tension on that. So what I'm going to do, so I don't, so the choke out of setting, once you've done this, you just tighten your few screws. Now, this is just threading into a little bit of aluminum and some plastic, so you don't need to actually crank them down crazy tight. Just make them a little snug. And this bottom one is always going to be a pain. Let's try to get a better grip on that. This carburetor line being in the way, or exhaust tube or whatever right under it. Hard to get a grip right on it. There we go. I think I gripped it. Also don't want to bend up on it too much and risk wrecking it. Snug those up a little more now. There. So now, when I go to start it, it shouldn't be in high idle. So I'm just going to take this vacuum line and plug it right now, so I don't have a vacuum leak. And I'm going to give it a quick start. It's, yeah, not too early, shouldn't upset the neighbors too much. Just check the time, it's actually 8 a.m. right now. So, got my cup of coffee. I'm going to show you here that you can see the temperature. Block heater wasn't plugged in or anything. And it's at its coldest it can be for this weather right now. Truck has 40,590 original kilometers on it. Grab my keys. So I guess this will be a little bit of a cold start as well then. So, I'm gonna pump the throttle a few times. There, now she's running. I'm going to pause this and take the flash off. Took the flash off, so it's idling about 800 RPM. And now I kicked it out of high idle. So we'll take a look at the carburetor. Now it's a little noisy under here, but as you can see, that's not in high idle at all. If I touch the throttle a little, by touching the throttle a little doesn't actually throw it into high idle. So it's exactly what I want. Now, the truck is still way too cold to throw it into gear. If I do attempt throwing it into gear, it's just gonna die right out and stall because it's cold. So that's the downfall with carburetors, is in this weather, you know, it's still above freezing, but not by much. You still have to let the engine warm up a little bit. I usually wait until the temperatures hit about 140 degrees before I try throwing it into gear. So I'll try right now. Well, didn't stall out this time. Kind of impressed. So all that's left to do is throw the air intake back on and call it wraps. Put the cover there so I don't lose that washer or the butterfly nut, whatever you guys like to call them. Now this vacuum line actually goes onto the carb, or onto the intake, right there. So lay the carburetor down on here, throw on the breather for the PCV. Grab the vacuum line, thread that on, twist it on, I guess, and then place that on, place the wing nut on, not going anywhere. Alright, well, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, comment below, or subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.